I thought my life was a fairy tale. I thought the man who promised me forever was my biggest protector. But the night I found the hidden files, I realized I wasn't his wife-to-be. I was his sacrificial lamb. Now, he's about to find out that I'm the one who holds the power to end his career, forever. I remember the way the diamond caught the light that night in Aspen. Julian knelt in the snow, his eyes shining with what I thought was love. He was the golden boy of Manhattan real estate, the youngest senior partner at Miller and Associates. And I was just Chloe, a 23-year-old marketing assistant who felt like she'd won the lottery. We lived in a penthouse that overlooked the park, a place of glass and cold marble. Julian always said, "Chloe, you're the only thing that keeps me grounded in this cutthroat world." I believed him. I spent my days planning a wedding that cost more than my parents' house, and my nights waiting for him to come home from his late-night closings. But the air in the penthouse started to feel thin. Julian became distant, his phone was always face down, and he started mentioning a high-stakes merger that would make him the CEO. He told me, "Once this deal goes through, Chloe, we'll never have to answer to anyone again." I noticed the first red flag at a corporate dinner. Julian's boss, Mr. Miller, thanked Julian for his creative accounting on the South Side project. When I asked Julian about it in the car, his grip on the steering wheel tightened until his knuckles turned white. He didn't look at me, he just whispered, "Don't worry your pretty head about business, Chloe. Just focus on the flowers for the ceremony." The pauses between us grew longer and colder. I started feeling like a trophy on a shelf, something he used to look successful, while he hid the rod underneath. I decided to bring him lunch at the office one Tuesday, a surprise he didn't want. When I walked in, his assistant looked at me with pity. Not respect, pity. Julian wasn't there, but his laptop was open and a notification popped up. It wasn't about the merger, it was a message from a private offshore bank confirming a transfer of $5 million in my name. My heart slowed down to a heavy, painful thud. Why was Julian moving money into an account in my name without telling me? I started to look. I started to dig, and what I found was a trail of breadcrumbs leading straight to a cliff. I spent 3 nights sitting on the floor of my walk-in closet with Julian's old tablet. He thought I was sleeping, but I was watching my life fall apart. Julian wasn't just moving money, he was laundering it. The Southside project was a fraud, a shell company designed to siphon millions from investors. And the worst part, every illegal document, every forged signature was tied to me. He had used my social security number, my digital signature, my identity, to build a paper trail that made me look like the mastermind. I sat there, in the dark, surrounded by my silk wedding dresses, and I cried until my chest felt hollow. The man I loved was setting me up to be his fall girl. If the SEC ever investigated, Julian would walk away clean, and I would spend my 20s in a federal prison. The emotional peak hit me when I found the recording. He had a voice memo saved on his cloud, a conversation with his lawyer. I heard Julian's voice, that smooth, confident voice I used to trust, saying, "If the deal goes south, Chloe takes the hit. She's young, she's naive, nobody will believe she didn't do it for the lifestyle. I'll just play the grieving fiancé who was blinded by love." I felt sick. My hands were shaking so hard I dropped the tablet. The betrayal wasn't just a lie, it was a death sentence for my future. He was going to stand at the altar, look me in the eye, and pledge his life to me, knowing he had already sold mine. When he came home that night, he kissed my forehead. He smelled like expensive bourbon and betrayal. He asked, "Are you okay, sweetheart? You look pale." I forced a smile, a mask of the girl he thought I was, and whispered, "Just wedding nerves, Julian. Everything is exactly as it should be." But inside, something had died. The Chloe who loved him was gone, and in her place was a woman who was about to become his worst nightmare. I didn't run. I didn't scream. I waited. Julian's big career-making moment, the grand gala where he was to be named CEO, was only 48 hours away. I spent those hours working. I contacted an old friend from college who worked in digital forensics. We didn't just find the money, we found the proof that Julian had forged my signatures from his own IP address at the penthouse. The night of the gala, I wore a dress the color of spilled wine. I looked perfect. Julian held my waist, introducing me to the board members. "This is my beautiful Chloe," he said. "The woman behind my success." I leaned in and whispered, "You have no idea, Julian." As the chairman stood up to announce Julian as the new CEO, the giant projector screen behind the podium didn't show Julian's highlight reel. Instead, it flickered and a document appeared. It was the offshore bank statement, followed by the voice recording of Julian's plan to frame me. The room went silent, a silence so heavy it felt like it would crush the building. Julian's face went from smug to ash. He turned to me, his eyes wide with a terror I had never seen. I didn't look away. I stood there, calm and cold. "Julian," I said, my voice amplified by the microphone near the podium. "I think you forgot to tell them about the South Side project." The authorities were already in the lobby. My forensics friend had sent the files to the SEC and the FBI 20 minutes before the doors opened. Julian tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. He was tackled in front of the very people he had tried to impress, his big career ending in handcuffs and flashes from a dozen cameras. I walked out of the ballroom, past the silk flowers and the expensive champagne. I went back to the penthouse, packed a single suitcase, and left the engagement ring on the marble counter. It didn't sparkle anymore, it just looked like a piece of glass. I'm 24 now, and I have my whole life ahead of me. Julian is facing 15 years, and his name is a curse in this city. He thought I was his victim, but he forgot one thing. I was the one who kept him grounded, and I was the one who let him fall. If you enjoyed this story of revenge and justice, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? Let us know in the comments below. Your support helps us tell more stories.